Today we're going to look at the Teacher Resource Center. We are at www.stockmarketgame.org, and we're going to go ahead and assume that you've already registered your teams. So we've got our username and password, and this is what you would have received by email if you've already registered. And to save time, I've gone ahead and put mine in, and just note that it is case sensitive. So we'll click Login, and this is going to bring you to a screen that is just the home page for the Teacher Resource Center. And sometimes you'll get a pop-up like this one, and it says that a new issue of In the News is available, and this is just something you'll see every once in a while whenever they've added material to the site. This is specifically about the Facebook IPO and social media companies on the stock market, and it'll tell you how you can get to that publication. So I'm going to X out of that, and we are now back at the home page for the Teacher Support Center, and it says Welcome Christy James, and you can see there are 3 tabs across the top. We have Understanding SMG, Managing Student Portfolios, and In the Classroom. And these are color-coded, which is nice, and they will match the sections down here on the bottom. So you can get to those either way. We're going to start with In the Classroom first. And in the Our Philosophy section, just to kind of explain how the SMG is laid out. So I'll click Our Philosophy, and first we're going to go to Curriculum Design. This is just going to tell you a little bit about how they've laid it out, and the lesson plans are separated in a way that it's supposed to go along with the way that you are teaching the program. So there's a Before You Invest section that will go that you can use before your students actually start to invest any money from their portfolio. Then you can you'll see a Selecting Your Investment section, which is going to just give them some more information about how to choose their companies. Then Tracking Your Investments, which is going to let them be able to make those decisions on how they ought to buy and sell. And then at the end of the trading session, which is going to just give a good wrap-up with critical thinking skills that they have picked up on and learned through the SMG. The next section here is just going to be a way that you can adjust their level of knowledge with the stock market game. Some students have participated in the stock market game before, and so you could change their knowledge level from novice, this is the first time they've ever participated, and it goes all the way up to grandmaster. So this is just one way that the lesson plans and materials can be customized to your students. And then here, obviously, you are able to choose the grade level. Next, we're going to go, we've got, you'll see along the left-hand side here, you can choose from the rest of In the Classroom section, which is lesson sequence, lessons and activities, and other things that it has available. But first, I'm going to go to this Concepts Defined. This is just some of the terms that you will probably find helpful that you may see whenever you're choosing different lessons and activities for your students. And next I'm going to go to the Interdisciplinary Strategies. And this is just going to be a description of that, and you can see how you can just keep choosing more. So that's the last of that section for In the Classroom of the Our Philosophy section. So next I'm going to go to the lesson sequence. This is where one of the ways that you're able to choose the lessons that your students, that you'd like to teach to your students. First, you're going to choose the grade level, and that's just broken out, elementary, middle, and high school. So today I'm going to choose middle school. Mastery level, I'm going to leave it novice because I'm going to say that my students have never participated in the stock market game before. And then for subject, I will choose math. And we suggest that you do leave it at core lessons because this is going to give you the lessons to just say, if nothing else, then you should choose, you would want to teach your students these lessons. You can also choose here, display a complete outline of all of the lessons. So, but for today, we're just going to choose a specific lesson sequence. And this is going to bring you to the lessons that it is chosen for to get you started with the stock market game all the way through wrapping it up with your students. You'll see here the before you invest, selecting your investments, tracking your investments, and at the end of the trading session. That's what we saw earlier whenever we were looking at our philosophy section. So this is when you say, I'm ready to start the stock market game with my students, what should I do first? It's going to give you these lessons to choose from. You can do all of them or just some of them, but there's a few things that are very important for your students to know before you start this. One of these would be what is a company, and then you can see what is a stock, and then a lesson about ticker symbols. So I'm just going to choose what is a company so that you can see an example of one of their lessons. And you can see first it's going to give you this screen, and it's going to give you the name, the publication date. If you want to view the lesson, you would click there, and if you want to see activities, you could click there. And then it's also going to give you a description and some of your objectives. So we're going to click here to open the window to view the lesson. And they are in PDF format, so you can print them off easily. All of their lessons here are going to be in this, arranged in this way. So you can see the suggested grade level that this, this lesson is made out for, about how much time it'll take, give you some teacher background, the vocabulary words, and your objectives. You can see what materials you will need, a springboard activity is suggested, questions, procedure, and then for novice and apprentice levels, it'll give you some questions and things to do for those levels, as well as master, grandmaster, and it'll keep going. And then you've got the application and the enrichment activities. Now, if you wanted to see the activities that are available for this lesson, then you would click here. And I'll just click on the first one for what is a company. And this is going to give you the activity sheet that it was referred to in that lesson for the chocolate company. And so you could just give this activity sheet to your students and just note that there's usually an answer key on the back of it. Okay, so we're going to X out of these since you can just get a little idea of what the lesson and the activities would look like. And like I said before, this is going to be this search that we just did has laid out all of the lessons that you would need for beginning the stock market game with your students all the way to wrapping it up. So now I'm going to go to lessons and activities. So we can choose by a unit, or you can choose by keyword. So by unit, we can choose, if you're ready to just see the lessons that have to do with before we invest, you could choose that. We'll click next, and then that's where you would choose the same information just in a different way as we chose earlier. So I'm going to choose the this, and then you're able to choose what topic that you would like to discuss with your students. You can choose Unit 1. I'm just going to choose Company, and then I'll say yes to the core lessons, and it will display the lesson that meets all of that, the criteria that I've just entered in. So back to lessons and activities, I'm going to choose by keyword this time. And I'm going to say I want any lessons that have to do with, we'll just say ticker symbols. I'll choose next. Again, I'll choose the lessons, how I want it to be specific to my students. Display report, and it's going to give me a lesson called Identifying Ticker Symbols and Interpreting Stock Quotes. And again, if you click that, you'll pull up the lesson. This, you can see the activities for that lesson, and here you can see how it meets the standards as well. So I'm just going to click that. You can say national standards or choose the Mississippi standards and click next, and you can see how it's going to meet these standards. Okay, so next I'm going to go to projects, and you can see again just the different ways that you're able to choose a project to go along with whatever stage you are in the game. So we'll choose a project for our selecting your investments section of the game, and then this is the projects that it has. We can have a project on bonds, mutual funds, risk, or anything Unit 2 based. So I'm just going to choose that. Middle school, math again, and novice. And it's going to give me this project to do. So I'll just pull this up. And like I said, it's going to be laid out the same way as the lesson plans. And there's 14 pages, so we're not going to go through it all, but it does give you everything that you'll need, such as the materials and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just X out of here. And if we wanted to search for more, you could just choose, say you're now at the end of the trading session, and you want a project to wrap it up. So that's one way that you could do that. Next, we have the assessments. So one good thing about the stock market game is that they do want to provide everything for you, such as the lessons and assessments and projects and things like that. So, so they do have this available for you, and you can choose whether you're doing a pre or post test. So we're going to say for what is being tested, we're going to choose the before you invest. So this is good for if you want to get pre and post test results for just the stock market game. So we would choose before you invest, the pre-test, and I want to hit display report, and you've got an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school pre-test. You click on the test for elementary school, then it's going to give you the test in PDF format and then the answer key behind it. If we're going to search for new assessments, you can see that the other way is by choosing rubrics. We'll choose math, the individual, teacher, so it'll give you that as well. And it does have it in PDF again, so you can just print it out. Okay, for standards, we've already kind of looked at this in a different screen earlier, but you can choose national, or we'll choose Mississippi. And for our subject area, we'll choose English, middle school, and it will give you the standards. You are able to click on the links over on the left-hand side, and it will give you the lesson that goes along with that standard. One reason that they have the English language arts listed up here is because we actually do have English teachers that teach the stock market game. There's a program called InvestWrite, and it's a national writing competition, and you are able to wrap the stock market game up with your students by having them submit an essay to you, and then as the teacher you would choose the best essays and submit them on to InvestRight. And Mississippi has been very successful. We've had national winners, and we are also given our state winners for InvestRight. So we're always able to award students for participating in that. So I'm going to go back here to we can just see all of the in the classroom links along here. And next I'll choose publications. And I can just say to show all of them by name, or to show any of them that have to do with dividends or a company. So for right now, I'm going to have them all shown by name. And this is going to show you all of the publications that are out with the stock market game. Math Behind the Market is a great one, so I'm just going to choose this one today. And it's going to show you that there's a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced publication, as well as the answer keys. So you can go down, see what all is included in this publication. If you've been with us for a while, then you might already have a hard copy of this. It was so popular that they just went ahead and put it on their website under the publication section so that everyone could just go ahead and have access to it. So anyway, this is all there for you to look at and print off as you want to. And let's see, so back to our list of publications. We'll do search for new publications, show them all. There's also a good one for S&P, How to Invest, and Stock Talk is also a good one. So these are just some of the publications that you can look at and get some tips or ideas from. This in the news section is what that pop-up window was about whenever we first logged into the stock market game. And this is the lesson that they were, or the article that they were talking about specifically, the shares of sharing. So, and this is about the social networking companies that have already gone public. So if you wanted to look at this, you could just click on that, and it's something that, like it says, it's in the news, and so it's relevant right now, and things like social networking are interesting to students as well. So this is just something you print off, you can give to your students, but anyway, that is available as well. And then lastly, for the in the classroom section is the investor background. This is just to give you a little bit of background for the stock market game. If you want the history here, how it works, any security and mutual funds education center is there. So I'll just click on history of the stock market game. History of just the stock market. All it is just how it came about. There's not really anything that goes along with it, but it is good to know, and it's maybe good for your students as well. So now I'm just going to go back to the page that we come to when we log in. And you'll see that all those links that were along the left-hand side, that's what's under in the classroom here. So we've just been through that whole section, and that's also here under this section, under this in the classroom section too. So like I said earlier, it's all color-coded so it goes together. For understanding the SMG, I'm just going to go ahead and click that. We have a teacher's guide, which is very helpful, so we'll click there and click here to view it. This starts off with Ready, Set, Go for number 1, so I'll choose that, and this is just going to kind of be an introduction for the stock market game, and you can see on number 2 it's going to talk about how to organize your class. Some teachers prefer to let some students work on their own. We suggest teams of 3 to 5 students. You can see there are links here for how to structure your teams, any assignments. This one is a good one. I'll click this one. It's actually giving specific roles to those team members. You can see there's a captain, a record keeper, things like that, so that everybody knows what their role is. Some teachers choose to have their students create a portfolio as well, and so that's where it would be good to have a record keeper keep track of some of those things. For understanding, excuse me, let's go back to click the teacher guide. Okay, so how much time will this take is always a question that we get. It just depends on how much time that you want to spend with your students doing this. You can introduce this to your students and then let them take over on their own time, or you can have the class meet and talk about the stock market game and things like that. It will take some time up front just to teach them about stock and company, but as far as the trading goes, it's really up to you how much class time you want to designate for that. For the stock market game rules, the rules are in the Understanding SMG of the Teacher Support Center, but this is a good quiz that we have teachers give to their students also. So it just, you can use this to kind of as an introductory quiz after they've learned a little bit about the stock market game, and you can see the answers are there at the bottom. Still under the teacher guide, you can see that this is where do I begin my research, reading stock data, the evidence of learning, which is kind of what I was referring to with the portfolio that some teachers have their students create, and also some of the competition. So we're not going to go through all of those, but just wanted to let you know that that is there. For the Understanding portfolios, we'll click this, and you can see the different links. It is going, this one will take you into how to enter a portfolio. This is reading the pages, investor research, how to enter a trade, and the quiz. So we'll go with entering a portfolio. And this is a PDF as well. And this is the way the screens used to look before it became color-coded, but you still can get the same, you still have the same idea. You need to log in. This is an email that you will receive with your password and ID. The importance of keeping your password secure. This is the way that the student portfolios look, which this has changed just a little bit. This middle section is grayed out, but for the most part, this is the way it looks. This is whenever your students are checking their portfolio pages, they are able to see their ranking. And this is when you click the yellow, there's a yellow question mark whenever you click on the tabs. On the blue trading tab, there's a yellow question mark and it says help. When you click that, you're able to see what all of the terms mean for that particular page. So for example, if we're on a rankings page, we can click help and we can see what the total equity means, what the value means. So that's how your students, you can have them kind of answer their own questions a lot of time whenever they need to see what does something mean on their portfolio page. Just have them click the yellow question mark. It says also outside of the links that they're able to go to, how to change a password. So that's just kind of the basics of the entering a portfolio. And then you've got the reading the portfolio pages. And this is whenever your students are actually in the portfolio, how they can tell what's what on the pages. So this is something you can show your students or just use it for whenever you're trying to teach them how to read their portfolio. And so we won't go through all of this, but just this is available for you, and it will break down what all the pages mean. And again, this is all under Understanding the SMG and Understanding the Portfolios. So we've gotten through the first two of those, so you can see how it's laid out and how it's going to look. So you can spend some time looking through those if you want to. Then we've got the rules of the game, which is what was referenced earlier whenever we were looking under the teacher's guide, and there was a section for the rules, and it said that the rules are listed under rules of the game. Well, here they are, and this is where what you would go over with your students, and then they could take that quiz that was listed under the teacher's guide. So first we've got just some of the main rules for the stock market game, such as that their portfolio will be $100 hypothetical cash, and they can borrow some money. Interest is charged weekly on negative cash balances at 7% and credited for positive cash balances at 2%. And interest is calculated daily. And then how bond coupon payments work also. So this is just, these rules are just let the students know that to take the interest into account whenever they are making trades. We've got end of the day game transactions are priced at market daily closing prices. That's important because Mississippi does operate on end of the day trading, which means that if your students make a trade at 10 o'clock in the morning, that's fine. The market, whatever the market closes at on that particular stock, that's what the trade is going to go through as. So if at 10 o'clock if the stock was $58, if the market closes at $60 for that particular stock, it's going to close at $60. And there's ways to not pay more than you want to, and we'll cover that later and whenever we're looking at the student portfolios in another webinar. You can see that all buy orders must be a minimum of 100 shares, but sell orders for less than 100 shares are allowed. So whenever your students are entering a trade and they want to buy stock of Apple, they have to have a minimum of 100 shares in order to be able to complete that trade. But if they say if they've bought 100 shares and they just want to sell 50, then that is fine. So we're not going to go through all of the rules, but there are some important ones here that we just wanted to point out to you. And at the top here you can view the local rules, which is, this is a page that is rules that are specific to Mississippi. So you can look at those as well. Here, if you are interested in any of the merchandise, you can go here. They've got cups and t-shirts and all kinds of things that if you want to have prizes for your students, you can get those there. And then related links. And this one is a good one because this is something that your students also have access to on their portfolio pages. This is TheStreet.com, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, Hoover's, MyMoney.gov. So this is just a couple of links to get you, some helpful links that you may want to look at. And that's all of Understanding the SMG. So now I'm going to go back to this home page. We're going to go to Manage the Student Portfolios. You can choose View Rankings and Portfolios, and this is where you would have the advisor name here and any of the teams that are registered under that advisor name. So for example, I have my Marketing 1 class here and the teams, and this is linked to the actual portfolio so that whenever you want to go into your student portfolios and make sure that they're meeting deadlines or doing what they need to be doing, you don't have to enter in their ID and password. You can just go straight to their portfolio through this Manage the Student Portfolio section. So I'm going to click on one of these just so you can see what it looks like, and it's going to go straight back to student portfolio. Oops, excuse me. Oh, okay. Admin. You would want to click the admin button that was there, and that'll take you back to your Teacher Support Center. For another question that we always get is for the rankings. You are able to see those whenever you have the to see team rankings. Click here. Just choose that. And my teams haven't traded yet, so there's really no rankings available, but you would be able to see their equity in their portfolio, how they're ranked, and this is out of their region, which is high school. So there's elementary, middle, and high school regions. You would see in this area how they're ranked, so say, 50 out of 700 or whatever, then that's where you would see that information, their total equity and the percent return above or below the S&P. So I'm going to close that. If you want to change your password because it is just a jumble of numbers and letters, you can do that. That's where you would put in that information. For troubleshooting, you can download the troubleshooting guide here, or you can just send us a message. And the way that you would do that is to click Help Desk. And this is going to send a message directly to the council with your question. And this is very helpful because it does prompt you to put in all of the information that we need whenever we're answering a question. So, for example, in the subject line, it would say, give some options for if this is a portfolio problem, a password problem, a link, anything like that. You can click Other, so I will just choose Portfolio Problem. And this is going to give you the list of all of your team numbers, team IDs, and you would just choose one. So if the problem I was having was with this team, I could choose that, and then you would enter in your information here. The ID, whenever you're asking a question about a portfolio, it may not seem important for us to look at the portfolio, but we ask that you do always include the ID because 9 times out of 10 we're going to have to look at the portfolio in order to answer that question that you have. So anyway, you would enter in your information, your message here, and click Submit. Here are participation certificates. You can click on this, it'll bring it up, and you can make it specific to your students. That's just something that if you wanted to present some of these to your students on one of your school awards day or anything like that, you could use these certificates that are already here. And that is all for the Teacher Support Center. And of course, if you have any questions, you can just call us directly at the office, or you can use that Help Desk button. And if you need anything else, just let us know. Except here's one more thing, is that this is the InvestRight link that will take you directly to that website that I mentioned earlier, regarding the essay competition for the end of the program. So anyway, it will take a little bit of playing around with for the Teacher Support Center just to get used to it, but it should have everything that you need to get started. Thank you.